First of all, let me bring you up to speed. Right now, we are about 100,000 deaths. The U.S. is nearing 100,000 deaths right now from COVID-19. A few weeks ago, you might remember that the President of the United States was saying how urgently he wanted all the cities to open up for business. He wanted everybody to come out of quarantine and get back to work. Well, all of the doctors and everybody who have been studying this have been saying that that's a bad idea. It was a bad idea. Well, now he goes golfing while we're 100,000 right now in deaths, while the United States right now is desperately needing leadership. He's taking a break. And cities are opening. And as a result, we're seeing a spike and an escalation around the country in COVID-19 cases. This last weekend, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of people flocking to the beaches this week, and there were no masks to be seen or any kind of distancing. And this is causing a problem for all the hospitals and those involved trying to fight COVID-19. Next, I wanted to share with you that Donald Trump, in all his wisdom, decided that he wanted to come out and say to everyone that he wanted all the churches to go back, to open back up, and people start going back to church. Well, we'll see how this turns out, but right now, everybody is saying that that's not a good idea. I'm not sure why he does these things. He knows that this isn't the best thing to do, but I think he's trying to get the evangelicals back up and working, and he wants the churches to have money so that he can fund his election. They supported him heavily in 2016, and I think that's his intention again, is he wants the same, and he wants the corporations and all the people like the evangelicals to support him again in this next election. So I want to remind you that a few weeks back, around Easter, we had the same discussion. Donald Trump wanted the country to open up around Easter, and no one was projecting that the country would be ready to open back up for business around Easter. When he started talking about that, a lot of the pastors and preachers started coming out and saying they were going to go against their governors and that they were going to open up for business around Easter. Well, since then, many of those same pastors that came out and said that it was a hoax and that they weren't going to listen to the governors, many of those guys have died from COVID-19. Now, they'll tell us that so many of the pastors have passed away since then. What they're not telling us is how many of the actual people who went to church with those pastors soon after got COVID-19. Let me remind you of another incident that just happened this week. There were a couple of people who went back to work. As a result, some barbers and some salon people went back to work. One girl, it was said that one girl infected. She was positive for COVID-19, and she infected alone or was in contact alone with about 90 people. I read a story about that this week. So just be careful. Just because people are opening up for business and this type of thing, it doesn't mean that it's safe for you to participate in that. It doesn't mean that it's wise for you to participate in that. Okay? Now, on top of all of this, with all that's been going on, the senators and everyone else have been asking Donald Trump, where is our plan? We're 4 months past into this now. Where's the plan for all the states? Where's the plan for the United States on COVID-19? And here's the dilemma with that. There's no plan. There's no plan. From the beginning to now, the governors have had to do everything on their own with no help from Washington, D.C. Okay? And let me tell you what that looks like. That looks like people are at the hospitals don't have enough protection. That means that people who become patients in the hospitals don't have enough respirators. There's not enough masks. There's not enough drug. There's not enough of what they need to really treat these people, and there hasn't been a concrete plan for the government to follow. I'll tell you what there has been. There's been a lot of blame shifting, okay? Donald Trump and the White House have been blaming the CDC. They will turn around and blame the WHO, okay? They'll attack the WHO. They'll take money away from WHO. Why is this effective for saving lives in America? Well, the answer to that is it's not, okay? Have you ever had a problem and you blame someone else for it? Did it solve the problem? Did the problem go away? No. Well, it's not going away here either. And that's what we're faced with. And that's what people are talking about. Okay? Because here's the leader that's supposed to lead the nation. And he's failing over and over and over again. And he turns his attention to things that aren't important. Like releasing Michael Flynn. Why is that important? Releasing Paul Manafort. Why is that important? Who thinks that's important? These guys are criminals. They've already been to court. They've already been prosecuted. They've already been delivered their sentences. Why is this president releasing them at a time like this? There's no reason for that. Okay? So he's doing his favors for his friends, but he's not doing anything for the American people. Okay? I wanted to point that out. Now, the biggest story, one of the biggest stories of the week is about what's going on in Brunswick, Georgia with Ahmaud Arbery and his murder. Okay? Everybody's been talking about that. Everybody's been watching this investigation. I've had my eyes on the investigation. Every time something new turns up in the news about Ahmaud Arbery, I'm all ears. Well, this last week there was another arrest made. And guess who was arrested? The guy who took the video of the actual murder. Turns out he's somehow involved in it also. He's been arrested for murder himself. Okay? And his name is, I have his name, William Rody Bryan Jr. So he was with the McMichaels, and basically this guy who turned the video in, hoping to get the McMichaels off, they find out that he was a part of the three, and they were all in this together to kill that young man. Now, here's the thing. I've been listening to a lot of what the attorney has been saying publicly and different things. This is a huge case that's going on right now. In fact, they're talking about the DA, several of the DA and several of the prosecutors may actually, in fact, be liable or complicit in this whole thing. Because the DA told the police not to arrest these guys. And no one knows why that is. On top of that, you later find out the guy who killed Ahmaud Arbery was a former investigator without any kind of license. The guy hasn't had license in years. He wasn't taking his courses. Basically, he's out there as a vigilante of some sort, and he's chasing down black people and killing them. He doesn't have a license. He doesn't have any kind of authority. So this falls back to the DA. This falls back to the prosecutions, to the prosecutors as well. So they're looking into that. And then, now I'm going to go back. Now here's the question I have for Donald Trump, if he would answer the question. Okay? Because in America right now we have COVID-19 that's killing all these Americans. Okay? And there's no testing. There's no tracking. There's no isolation. There's no plan. Okay? And you keep saying that we're doing the best in the world. But that's not true. Right here it says that Wuhan, China tested 6.5 million people in 9 days. They tested 6.5 million people in 9 days. We've had 4 months. since this started. We're not even close to that number. So my question to you is, when are you going to put on your big boy pants and start acting like a president? If you can't do that, get out of the White House and let somebody man up and do the job you're supposed to be doing. This is David Lucas, and this is In the News. Have a good night.